Ngara means listen, think and learn in the Darug language. The art in this collection offers a platform that teaches and helps students learn, all while offering opportunity. Each artwork showcases an epic struggle of people and cultures in our midst. Paul Armand is the head of the Sydney High Old Boys Union. He has played an integral role in getting the art collection public exposure and showcasing it to greater populations.
What do I think of this art collection? I think this art collection is really amazing, particularly from the perspective of it being an art collection of art by a school and by a public school at that. So I think, what do I think of it is that I think it's amazing in itself as a body of art, but I think what's even more amazing, particularly at this point in time, is that this is something which a school has bothered to collect at all, has bothered to bring together. I think that that's really special and really amazing. So the idea of this being an initiative of the school to obtain Aboriginal art, I think that that's really quite poignant. Let's think about, there's a number of reasons for that, but let's think about the first one. Here we are in Surrey Hills, right next to Redfern and Alexandria and all those suburbs where we all know that has and historically always been a very large Aboriginal population. I think it's really important that those people that have been right next door to this school for all of the years that the school has been at this location, it's really important that they show some recognition of their place in this immediate community. And I think that also brings together the fact that we are on Aboriginal land that's been recognised as such, and that we honour it every time we stand and speak in public. I think also it's really important that we've worked hard to be in touch with the Aboriginal community at that personal level. So I think that the art allows us to bring it alive. It becomes less of a concept and more of something tangible. And that's really important, that transition from, let's compare it to Facebook. All manner of stuff comes through on Facebook and you can like it. Or there's a protest movement that you can support by writing, yeah, I support this, and sharing it with your friends. But are you actually really doing anything about that particular protest, about that particular cause? I think that this is a useful comparison. What we're actually doing is the school is bringing in the art in its tangible form, and we can actually touch it, feel it, appreciate it, and look at the identity of those people who we know who have painted it and constructed the art. And I think that that's really important, that closeness, that tangible closeness that we can get. Proud when I come back to Sydney Boys High to see this art. Well, that's an interesting concept. Firstly, at a personal level, should we be proud of something? Perhaps. I think a better way to put it is to say that I'm honoured that I'm part of the community which has taken up this initiative. That I can say that I'm part of this community to say it's an absolutely wonderful thing that's been done. So, proud, yes, it's certainly to the extent that you can consider pride as something positive. I am very proud, but I think that this is just a wonderful thing.
Today, the notion of the oldest continuous living culture also being part of the most contemporary modern artistic output is a challenge to our ideas of contemporary Aboriginal culture. Ms. May is the head teacher of art at Sydney Boys High School. She played an important role in the formation of the art collection and is the reason why so many students at the school appreciate it. She reveals why she created the art collection and what it means to the school as a whole.
There were a number of inspirations for this collection. The first is the artist Vernon Arkey. He won't know that he had an incredible impact on me one year, about 10 years ago, at an art teachers convention. He despaired at the education his three kids were getting in schools in Queensland. He despaired about the history that was being taught and the stories of Indigenous Australians that weren't being heard by students in classes. And his personal story had a huge impact on me and sat with me for that 10 years. And so when the opportunity came about to invest in a teaching collection at the school, there was no question that Indigenous and Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander art should be a key part of the collection. I think another reason why the collection's important in this school is because we are sadly, we sadly don't have many Indigenous students that come to the school, and I think our boys are poorer for it. We miss out on the stories, we miss out on the cultural exchanges, and this opportunity, the boys are now rubbing shoulders every day with this spectacular art and the personal stories of Indigenous Australians. We chose to focus on Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island art in particular because it has become a national, a mandatory perspective in the national curriculum. Every subject has to include Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander aspects to it, and so the artworks have been selected here to cover as many of the subject areas as possible. So we've got works that will engage primary school students with storytelling, works that will engage studies of religion students, legal studies students have got a work that they can discuss and break down. English students have a work in the collection purchased specifically for the discovery area, and of course the visual arts are well represented. We've got fish traps for design students. We've got a range of works with different potential to engage students on different levels. I think being immersed directly with an artwork on a daily basis is that will have a lasting impact. So over 6 years, a student is going to pass these corridors and become familiar with the works here today. So these encapsulate what was happening in Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander in 2016. We've got works that have been commissioned from artists in the local La Perouse community. We've got works that come from all over Australia. It dispels the myth that all Aboriginal art has to be dot painting. It raises lots of questions for students to ask themselves, whether they're in the class directed by a teacher or not. And we hope that the boys here, who are all going to go into careers in policy, in medicine, in law, and in many fields that do directly impact on Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, that they have a broader, more empathetic perspective on the experiences of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, and that maybe their experience of the collection might address racism or fear because of lack of knowledge.
At the heart of Aboriginal culture and Aboriginal art is the creation law set down in Dreaming, which provides the identity for traditional Aboriginal painting and their connection to the land. Michael Kempson founded Cicada Press in 2004 to foster research projects that facilitated diverse contemporary dialogues and promote the broad methodological potential of printmaking practice. Michael Kempson, along with Cicada Press, also placed an emphasis on open dialogue, broad relationships with the artistic community, and to especially extend a helping hand to the artistic community among Indigenous Australians.
I started Cicada Press in 2004 when I first came to what was then College of Fine Arts, but the art school now is called the University of New South Wales Art and Design. Printmaking is a discipline area of which I have responsibility, and it was at a bit of a low ebb as a discipline of interest for the students here at UNSW. So I need to start to do a few things to try and encourage people to come back into the studio. So one of those strategies, and it's a pedagogically based strategy, was to invite artists of national and in many cases international reputation who don't make prints to come in to the workshop and learn how to make prints, but to do so with the support of our students. So I run a class here, and you've seen that class. It's called a custom printing class, and we have 20 students, and we invite sometimes up to 8 artists to come in and work together, so to work collaboratively. So in the production of the artist's work that we invite to come in, they're learning about a technical process, they know about their content, they just don't know how to say it or to express their ideas through a new discipline. So I offer the support. I'm in the role of what you would describe as a custom printer, and a custom printer facilitates the production of the work. But I do that with the support of the students who are working with us. So my students get the benefit of learning about printmaking themselves, but also observing artists that they respect going through the same sort of challenges that they do as picture makers, learning how to manage a process, learning how to technically bite a plate, or learning how to print it. So the students see these artists working, but they also develop relationships with these artists. So they're learning about the nature of art practice through the experience of people who have preceded them and developed national reputation. Okay. So every February we invite Indigenous artists from this country, and probably more so, we're inviting Indigenous artists from communities all around the world. So we're developing broad international Indigenous networks. So around Australia we tend to know what's happening. We tend to observe artists who we think are doing really interesting work, but maybe aren't getting the sort of opportunities that we think they deserve. So often we invite those artists to come and join Indigenous artists who have substantial reputations. So together, in the same way that our students get the benefit of working with artists of national standing, our Indigenous invited artists get to work with Indigenous artists with considerable reputations. So together, for 2 weeks, we work together in the production of work, often also involving our students to support the production of that practice. So what changes have I seen? Well, I've seen certainly a lot more Indigenous artists interested in print-related practice. We first started working with Aboriginal artists from a community called Papunya. And Papunya is a very famous remote community in Central Australia. And in that remote community, a graduate from our school back in the 70s went to teach in the Papunya school. His name was Jeffrey Barton, and he encouraged some of the kids in the schools to start to paint motifs in the class, but using their traditional motifs. He did so at a time when Indigenous practice, this is in the 70s, was essentially considered to be an ethnographic curiosity. So in other words, what visual practice they produced wasn't taken seriously as art, and particularly motifs using traditional forms and so on. So he encouraged the artists who are working in the community and the children who are working at the school to paint using their traditional motifs. And that very simple process encouraged those artists to start to make paintings, and that was the beginning of what's now known as the Western Desert art movement. And many of the artists who are famous in that movement, or their descendants, are represented in prints in the collection that you've got hanging in the school at the moment. So that's one facet. One facet is providing opportunities and pathways for Indigenous artists to gain experience in fine art disciplines that are beyond the traditional disciplines, as in painting. Secondly, we're providing, as I probably previously mentioned, we're providing opportunities for career development for these artists. So it's a big change. Instead of just working with artists who are bankable and are recognisable, we're trying to encourage artists who haven't been given opportunities to come in and do things that test them and challenge them, but in so doing, we provide them with support and opportunities to develop their practice. And that's one of the really hard things for anyone who's leaving, say, an educational institution like a school, is how to learn how to sustain the practice. You're practicing really anything you do. I don't know what you guys are particularly interested in doing when you leave school, but whatever you choose to do, you need opportunity, you need support, you need mentorship, and you need guidance. And all of those things are really crucial, and they have become much more focused and much more targeted over the period of the 13 or 14 years. So why did I think it was important to be involved? Well, one, it was important to be involved because the school chose to purchase some works. So actually buying works and having the artist's works purchased is a great support to them, and it's a great support for what we do. I think the school chose to approach us because they knew that they were going to get quality work at an affordable price, and that's sort of what printmaking is all about. And you guys don't have a massive budget at that school, so you're getting good bang for your buck. So it's important for me because it's great to be involved in a collection, and a collection where there's substantial work. So I've seen the collection, and it's some really fantastic stuff there. It covers a range of approaches to Indigenous practice, but it's a collection with a purpose. It's not just hanging on the walls for decoration. Its purpose is to communicate many of the issues that Indigenous people are confronting. And that's what art practice is all. I think what good art practice is all about is trying to tell stories that are relevant and meaningful and substantial. And many of the stories that have been told in the work that's in the collection talks about, one, the disadvantage that Indigenous people face in this country, and it talks about the complexities of culture, which is it is the oldest continuous culture on Earth. And that's something that we should learn to acknowledge and learn to respect, not only in a cultural context, but in the way we develop our relationships with Indigenous people.
Cicada Press is just one of the many organisations doing work to help support and encourage Aboriginal art. All three interviewees presented have showcased a building block as part of the art collection that managed to stack up and up to create an art collection such as Ngara. An art collection that is so inclusive, so unique and so appealing. That is Ngara.